Have you ever felt that your time with someone is just being wasted? Like you have no idea why you're in a situation or why you're at this meeting or why you're at this event because it's just a complete waste of time. Well, today we're going to be talking about how to better manage your time when it comes to being a leader. That's today on the 306 podcast. So for the last couple of episodes, we've been talking about we've really been talking about poor leadership and the poor leadership that we've been seeing and kind of how we need to be raising up this new generation of leaders. We need to be very intentional with how we are talking with people, how we're setting a good example for this, for not just our kids, but even for this current generation. I mean, how I act and how I demonstrate my relationships with people is going to have an effect not just on them or on my kids, but also just on other random people. If they see how I'm acting, the hope is that they would then say, man, maybe I should act more like that. Or I like the way that he's interacting with these people. Or I like the way he handled that situation. And maybe that's something I need to do. Maybe that's something I need to adopt into my life. And so it's not just about changing the next generation, though I feel like if we can't change the next generation, we're in big trouble. But today, I want to talk about, as a leader, if you're going to be an intentional leader, if you want people to look to you, if you have that ego, and you say, I want to be a good leader, I want people to be able to look at me and say, he's a good leader or she's a good leader. I want to go over managing your time. We're not going to go into like characteristics of a leader, as far as like personality traits and what you do in certain situations. But kind of. So today we're going to be talking about managing our time. And I kind of just want to go over, I have a couple of bullet points just written down, and I want to elaborate on them a little bit. But the thing that I struggle with most with time is managing it. I just, as you can see from me, like I haven't shaved. My hair is very long. Like I'm going tonight to get a haircut, and then I'll shave later today or tonight, but time is just getting away from me. It's Thursday, the day that these podcasts come out, but I normally record these podcasts on a Wednesday, so that I have a day to edit them. And so today I'm going to have to work double time to record it and then edit it and then post it and, get it out there, because I'm not doing well managing time. And fortunately, this isn't something, and so I'm not being a good leader, but fortunately, this is something where you can know the information like the back of your hand, but you have to apply it. And applying this information is what's the difficult thing. And so I walked into my office, it's Thursday, and this is the first time this week that I've been in my office or in the studio. And I'm just thinking to myself, it's day 4 of a 5-day work week. And this is the first time I've been in my office. Now, fortunately, like if you're a client of mine and you're watching this, I don't want you to think he's not even working. Like we're paying him and he's not even working. Fortunately for me, I have a home office, and I can work anywhere. As long as I have this with me, I can work pretty much anywhere, which is great. That's a good use of time. And fortunately, we live in a day and age where you don't have to necessarily be in your office. But I like coming to my office. I pay a lot of money for this office. And so, it's kind of one of those things where I want to use it as much as possible. But this week, it just hasn't worked out. Fortunately, I've been having great meetings. I've been in meetings with people that have just been brought into my life, and it's great, but I'll talk about that later. So number 1 is being intentional with your time. If you're just going through life and just willy-nilly, whoever needs your attention, whoever needs your time, you're just giving it wherever you want, you're going to find out really quickly that one, that tires you out. But two, it's not going to get you where you want to go. And maybe that's part of the issue. Maybe you don't know where you want to go. Maybe you're sitting there and you're watching this and you're like, I don't have an idea of where I want to go. And so I would encourage you to sit down, think about it, write out where you want to go, what you want to do, what is going to make you happy, because that's going to be time well spent. It is time well spent figuring out what your next step is. If you lay out a plan and you say, I want to do this, I want to do X, Y, Z, and here are the steps that I need to take, and it's going to take me this long, and you have to be honest with yourself. But that is so valuable than just saying, hey, this is what I want to do, and if I get there, I get there, no big deal. No, you have to be intentional. And what I've been, trying to really nail down and get better at is dedicating time to certain tasks. And like I said, I've been having meetings galore this week and last week and the week before. And then I'm working from home, and then I'm coming in, I'm working late nights, and that's all good. But there's a better way to do it. And I say this knowing very well that it's a prideful thing for me. But just because I have a lot of work to do, and that's very beneficial for me, does not mean that that's what I need to be doing all the time. And what I mean from that, or by that, is this. Regardless of how much work I have to do, I'm still a husband. I'm still a father. I'm still a brother. I'm still a friend. So don't let work overtake those responsibilities. Being a good leader is being able to manage your time to the best. And if you heard the phone ringing in the background just now, I am sorry. I forgot to turn the phone off. And so if you heard it, I'm hoping you didn't, but if you did. So you still need to take up those roles. I get it. There's a lot of work to do, and that work is important. But as a man, your biggest work is your family. And if you don't have a family, your biggest work is your walk with Jesus. And we could talk about that. So dedicating times to certain tasks. And for me recently, it's been meetings. You need to be very intentional on the person that you're meeting, and setting up those meetings, actually having the meetings, following up from those meetings. And I want to focus on this whole meeting thing, because I think as being a leader, you need to get out, you need to experience how other people are leading. You need to be reading books, and books are good, but I think you really need to experience it firsthand. You need to be spending time with people that are leaders. And so you need to set out your calendar. You need to say, these are going to be the times that I can meet with people. These are times that I'm not going to meet with people because I need to get other things done. And so these can be meetings, these can be get-togethers, these can be hangouts, whatever it is, whatever you're planning, you need to be intentional with it. The person that you're getting together with, I would say this, make sure that they know what you're looking to accomplish before you get there. If you're looking to just catch up, say, hey, I just want to catch up with you. Or if there's something going on in your life that you want them to be able to speak some truth into, you want them to be able to give you some sound advice, say, hey, I want to get together with you. I'm really having, I'm really struggling recently with XYZ. And I'd love to get your insight on it. That way they can start to prepare. They can start to get things together so that they can have a higher quality meeting with you. You don't want to get together, throw this on them, and then say, yeah, I really want to, I really want to ponder this, because hopefully you're getting together with people that really have your true heart's interest at mind. You know, that they want the best for you, and they want to give you very sound advice. And so they may need to marinate on some things. And granted, I don't think you need to tell them everything up front, but just so they can start thinking about it, start praying about it. And then two, when you're actually meeting with this person, you still need to be intentional with that time. I think you need to set a parameter of how long this meeting is going to be. And this is something that I really struggle with, because it's very, very common for me to have 3-hour meetings. I can have a 20-minute meeting that lasts an hour. I can have an hour-long meeting that lasts 2 hours. I can have a 90-minute meeting that lasts 3 hours. And so I need to get better at having these meetings and figuring out when is the time to wrap it up. I need to wrap it up because my time is so intertwined with everything else that it starts a chain reaction whenever I mismanage my time. And I'll give you a great example. Yesterday I was in a meeting, and it was a phenomenal meeting. Very, very good stuff. Gave me some ideas for other projects that I want to be working on. And I went in. It was just a, hey, I just want to get to know you kind of thing. And then we got talking. And I lost track of time, and the meeting started at 10:30, and now all of a sudden it's 12:30. And I say, oh, wow, like I need to wrap this up. And we weren't finished kind of with that thought. And so we kind of finished that up quickly in a half hour. And it's 1:00 before I leave. Well, what happened was my wife had a phone call, a phone meeting at 1:30. And so I had to run to the store. I had to run, and I picked up lunch, and our boys, who typically go down for lunch or down for their naps between 1 and 1:30. Now it's 2:30 before they're even getting to bed. And it set the whole afternoon off. So by me mismanaging my time, and it's my responsibility, it's not the other person. I need to be able to step up and say, hey, I just have to be out of here at 12 o'clock. And then that way we can manage the meeting a little bit better. We can manage that time. So soak up as much information as you can during that meeting. Make the most of that time, but also be making mental notes, or if you need to, make notes on a computer, on a tablet, on your smartphone, or if you're old school and you need the little Post-it notes. Sometimes I love writing on Post-it notes. Write down little things that you need to be keeping, things that are very important to that meeting that you can then follow up on. That you can say, hey, I was just looking through the notes from our last meeting, and how are you doing with this? Or I just wanted to get a little bit more information, or how you feel about this thing. Because you need to know what's happening in that meeting, or else it's lost. If that meeting doesn't produce, if it doesn't produce something that you're going to take with you outside of that meeting and move forward, I think you need to turn that meeting down. And it's a really difficult thing, especially for me. I love meeting with people. I love talking with people. But you need to know when to turn down a meeting. If someone contacts you and says, hey, I want to get together and meet with you because I want to try to sell you these pens. And if you're just listening to this, I'm holding up a pen. I'm trying to sell you these pens. And you're thinking, I don't need pens. That's a meeting that you need to turn down and say, I don't really have the time for that right now. But I struggle with that. I want to meet with each and every person because that's just how I am. So you need to turn those meetings down. And one of the things that I'll mention about following up with people, and this has become very good in my life, and it's actually brought a lot of things to the forefront for me. It's being held accountable. So you need to I've talked about having a good group of friends. Why I need my friends more than ever. You can go watch that podcast. How to make friends if you don't have that group. Last week we talked about ways that you can start to make those friendships, make those connections. But to have those people and to have them hold you accountable for what you're doing in your life, that you're getting together with these people in person regularly, that you're communicating with them either by phone or text or email or Facebook or whatever, Snapchat, on a daily, every other day basis. That's going to help you be more intentional with your time, because they should be holding you accountable. Hey, Scott, how are you doing, managing that time? Are your meetings still running so long that it's messing up family time? Are you following up with people that you said that you were going to follow up with? Having that accountability, it's so important. So you need to lay out, if you have this good group of friends, you need to lay out for them what your vision is, what you're looking to do. And ask them to hold you accountable. If they are true friends, if they do have your best interest at heart, they'll do it. They will do it. And when you're following up with people, be specific. Don't just say, and again, I'm guilty of it. It's easier said than done. But if you have a meeting with someone and they pour your heart out to you and they're like, hey, I'm really struggling with time, specifically with getting home from work on time. I can't seem to ever get home from work, and it's messing up meals, and then it's messing up our evening plans, and it's messing up time connecting with my wife or with my kids or with my girlfriends or with other friends or with my parents, or I just can't seem to get on time with things. That's what they pour out to you. You need to follow up and say, hey, how are you getting home on time this week? Maybe shoot them a text, if they get off work at 5 or, whatever. Send them a text at 4 o'clock. Hey, are you going to be out of work at 5? You need to be specific. If you just say, hey, how's it going? Again, it's hard, but you need to get to that point with them. You need to get to that point. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is planning downtime. Because if you're like me, you just plan your time away, and it's always work. It's always, in getting together with friends. If you think that that's your downtime, if you're truly investing in your friends, I said a true friend is not someone that you can get something out of. It's someone that you can be pouring into. Friendships can be exhausting. And I'm not saying every time you get together with someone, you need to be just pouring out all of your energy into them. You can have relaxing time with friends. And you need to plan that. You need to plan what's recreational and what's investments. And each time you get together, there should be a little bit of an investment in there. You need to be building up that relationship, but you also need to just plan downtime. And you need to plan downtime by yourself, where you just do whatever you need to do, whether it's video games or golf or whatever you do. Read a book. That's something that I need to do. But then I end up, instead of reading, a good story book, I'm reading leadership books. I'm reading books on marketing. I'm reading books on, theology and doctrine and all this kind of stuff. And though that's good, you need to, I told Carly, my wife, the other day, I'm like, I wish I could just sit and stare at a blank wall for 45 minutes. If I could just sit and stare at this blank wall over here for 45 minutes, I would be perfectly fine with that. It allows my mind to, yes, I'll be thinking of things and what I need to do for like the first 10 minutes, and then my mind will just kind of go comatose, and I'll just stare at a blank wall, and it's very much beneficial for me. So you need to be able to plan downtime. You need to be able to plan time with your wife. That's good. Quality time with your wife, with your kids, with your friends, with your family. And trust me, doing this, your schedule will fill up very, very quick. But you'll fill it up in a way that's intentional. Instead of just throwing dates around, you're going to say, nope, from this time to this time, I have this. From this time to this time, I have this and this and this and this. And then you'll learn how to develop that schedule, how to develop that timing. And then as you do that, as you get into a routine, other people will see, man, you get so much stuff done in such a little time. One of the things that I've been working on is I work. I don't plan any downtime. And then there will be days when I come into the office, I put 40 hours a week in by Wednesday. And then there are some Thursdays and there are some Fridays, and quite honestly, there's some Wednesdays where I just come in and I hit the Netflix, and I'm like, if I would have just planned a little bit better, I could finish out the week strong instead of burning out 3/4 of the way through, or 80% through the week. And then I lose an entire afternoon, and then it's hard to recover from that. So tell your friends. So wrapping this up, how to become a better leader by managing your time wiser. One, it's being intentional, dedicating times to certain tasks, and don't waver from that. Setting up meetings with people, letting them know what you want to meet about before you meet, when you're meeting them, soaking up as much information as you can to figure out where you can help and how you can help. And then following up with that meeting, being specific with what you want to follow up on, knowing when it's time to wrap up a meeting, knowing when to turn down a meeting, and finally, planning downtime for yourself. Burnout is it's not good. And then being held accountable. You need to have a group of friends, 2-3 guys that can hold you accountable, that are going to be following up with you and meeting with you to hold you accountable. You need that in your life. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, I would encourage you to go back, watch some of our other podcasts. Let us know what you think. Comment down below, and if you would, please subscribe to the 306 podcast. Check out some of the other content we have available, and I'm really excited because we are going to be launching a new series. We're going to be filming probably sometime over the summer, and it's going to be called The Faces of Men. I'm going to be releasing more information about that later, but a lot going on, and I appreciate any support that you could give us. So subscribe, and I will see you next week on the 306 podcast.